Today's topic is quite interesting because we are talking about how to balance motherhood and entrepreneurship. How is that possible? Is it possible? Like there is the myth, where you have to choose between one or the others, right? But more and more women are stepping up and showing us that you can do both, you can be both, and you can have it all. Right? Our standout guest today, Ayoola, is a podcast host. She's a publisher. Okay, she has 30 books published, I believe. She's an entrepreneur. She's running multiple businesses, okay, and not one or two, multiple businesses. She's a creator, a producer, and listen carefully, a mother of 6 kids. So during our conversation, we are going to discuss how she juggles the daily challenges, and of being a mother and an entrepreneur, but also how she helps others to thrive and achieve their goals as well. So please help me welcome Abby to the Stand Up from the Crowd. Hello, Abby. How are you doing?
Hello, Doreen. How are you? I'm good. Thanks for asking.
Yes, so just to tell you the truth, Abby and I was so curious to learn more about Abby that we had started the conversation before going live, but no worries, we are going to talk all about here today. So, Abby, wow, when I hear your pedigree, I'm like, damn, like this woman is a big deal, right? Like, but also I think she's well organized. She must be like very well organized. I'm not a mother yet, but I know that being a mother can be hard and challenging, right?
hmm
And rewarding too.
hmm
On the other side, as an entrepreneur myself, I know how entrepreneurship can be hard, challenging, and rewarding too. So when I read all your accomplishments and the fact that you're a mother of 6 beautiful gifts, I want to say, I'm wondering, what came first, the kids or the businesses?
Sure. Thank you for having me. The kids came first. I first got pregnant when I was 22 years old, turning 23 that year. So at that time, I got married the year before, so I was 21. So I got pregnant and I had no idea what to do because I was like, it's my first time ever. I wasn't expecting to start having children that early, but it happened. I called my mother. At that time, she lives in Nigeria. So she was like, you know what? You're already married. Now you're pregnant. So just deal with it. And then my dad also was supportive. So because of them, I was able to go forward with the pregnancy because I was so young. I was like, I had no idea, but my parents, they encouraged me. They're like, it's okay, it's okay to have children. You're an adult now, so go ahead. So that's what happened.
Well, 22, 23, I would say you are still a baby though, even though you are married,
hmm
and you live the adult life, of course. But I feel like you are very young and not experienced enough,
Exactly.
at 22, 23 to be able to, I don't know, take a sit down and look at things from a practical perspective when you are so young. So
hmm
that was so brave. And I'm glad that you received the support from your family because, as you know, your support system is very important. It can break you or make you. I know it sounds cliche, but this is very true.
Yeah.
So since you became a mom at a very early age, I'm wondering, did it ever occur to you that, okay, now that I am a mom, there are like certain things that I cannot achieve professionally because I am a mom. So did it ever occur to you that you had to make a choice between being a mother and pursuing a professional goals?
Never. It never occurred to me because I'm the type of person that just, if I get an idea, I act on it right away or I have something going. Like for example, in 2013, at that time I had 3 children. So my first daughter, I think she was maybe like 5 or 6 around that time, and then a 4 year old and a 2 year old, whatever. So I decided to go to like a massage therapy class, I mean school. So that was like a year plus. So I was raising 3 children under the age of 5 I was going to school for massage therapy, and I was also working at that time. So I was doing all those things in 2013. Like it was, I don't even know, my life was like just chaotic overall. So I decided to like that's what I'm saying. Like I just keep going. Like I don't stop. I don't let having children stop me from pursuing what I want to do. I always just try and find a way to make it work. Like I'm lucky enough that I have, a village around me. Like at that time, my ex-husband was, he will help with the children sometimes. Then I had my stepmother, I mean, in Brampton, that will help out whenever I needed it. So I can drop off my children. She will help me out. And so, like, I had people that I can rely on to help me with my children. So I was able to go to school and work at that time. So, yes.
Wow, it does take
Village.
yeah, a village. When we say it takes a village to raise a child, yes, it is very true. So now tell us a little bit more, because as I said, you are running multiple businesses, and I haven't mentioned that, but she's also an actor, we say in English, or
Reality
actress, I don't.
TV star. Reality TV.
Real TV star. Oh, listen, like she has like recorded 3 seasons already. So what's the name of the show?
Niger Wives of Toronto.
So this is the equivalent of the
Yes.
Housewives, the TV reality show that is very popular in the US.
Mm-hmm.
It is quite popular here too. So can you give us your timeline in terms of entrepreneurship? Because
Mm-hmm.
as I said, you are running multiple businesses. So how do you go from starting with one and then running 6? I believe you run 6 businesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So tell us, like, how do you go from 1 to 6? What's the timeline like?
Yes, sure. So I started my entrepreneurship journey in actually, let me be frank and honest. My first business I actually started in 2014. It was called AMA Buying Services. So I wanted to offer like concierge services for seniors and um and people, but I wouldn't call it business because I didn't make any money from it.
Okay.
So it was my first time ever jump into entrepreneurship. So I would say 2014 was like my start. But then
Okay.
because that didn't go anywhere because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, oh, let me start a business. I started and then I had no customers. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm not cut off for entrepreneurship. So I, got over that. And then I started working, going to school, like I said. And then in 2015, I got fired from my job. And at that time, I had 3 children, At this time now, my first one was almost 8, I believe. So they weren't getting raised the way I wanted them to be raised because I wasn't around a lot, because I was so busy working and going to school and like it was just stressful, right? So after I got fired, I was like, you know what? Let me rethink my life and what I want to do. So I decided to start my own business at that point. So I didn't look for another job. I was just like, let me just start my business and stay home with my children. So 2015 was when I, started making money from the business that I started. So I started with the selling waist trainers. And after that, then I went into selling like flat tummy teas. Then I went into media. Well, I've always been in the media space since I was 17, actually. So whether I was doing like background stuff or commercial or print or music videos. So I was always in the media space. But then in 2019 was when I became like an executive producer and produced the show Niger Wives of Toronto, one of the producers and one of the co-creators. So after that, the media thing started. And then let me go back. Okay. Let me go back timeline by timeline so it makes more sense. So 2014, I started my first business, didn't go anywhere. 2015, got fired. I'm like, you know what? Then I started the business with a waist trainer. Then in 2017, a lady, one of my husband now, Wayne Williams, like they went to the same school. Her name is Moy. She wrote me on Facebook. She's like, Abby, why don't you write your own book? This was 2017. So I was like, I don't know, what am I going to write about? So she's like, she gave me some ideas. So I wrote my first book in 2017 called Wasteless: How to Transform Your Waste in 30 Days. Because people were always asking me, you have three children. At that time, I only had three children. You have three children. Your waist is so small. You don't even look like you have kids. What's your secret? Blah blah blah. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just write a book. So I wrote my first book, Wasteless. So that was in 2017, and then 2018, I became a radio station host. So GPKM FM. Me and my husband now we were hosting together. So it was called Lifestyle. Yeah, the Lifestyle. So it was a health program that helps people with their body, mind, and soul. It's a wellness show. We did that for about 8 months. Then we parted ways. Then so later on in 2018, me and my husband again, we got a show on Afro Global TV called Synergy, where it was also about health and wellness. So we talked about wellness for your mind, body, and soul. So, so that's the timeline so far. And then in 2019 was when the Ninja Wives of Toronto started, where I'm one of the co-creators and one of the executive producers. So we've done 3 seasons so far, which you can watch on Afroland TV. And also we're on Swag TV. It's a local TV in Chicago. You can watch us there, all 3 seasons. So that's 2019 now. And then in 2020, so just pretty much building on the different businesses that I've already done in the media, writing books. I wrote more books, wrote more cookbooks. One of the famous one is the cookbook called Africanizing Vegan Food. All your Nigerian foods veganized, because I'm Nigerian and I'm also vegan. So I found that a lot of Nigerian food is not vegan friendly. So I wrote a cookbook to help people that are vegan or vegetarian or they're looking to eat more healthy. So that was the reason why I wrote that book, because in my community there's a lot of high blood pressures, diabetes, strokes, all those diseases that you get from diet. So I thought to myself, if I can help people to see that you can still eat your favorite foods from Nigeria, but just make it veganized and more healthy, then you'll be fine, So just pretty much just writing more books, working more in the media. Then I got into publishing, published my first magazine in 2021. It's called Mom's Ultimate Guide. It's a quarterly lifestyle magazine for mothers. And then started the podcast also last year, 2022. It's called How to Survive Society, where I give survivors the platform to share their stories. And just, as you can see, it's all like, I tell myself and people that what I do is like, I help to empower, educate, and enlighten mothers and families to through tech, media, and food to help their wellness, because everything that I do has to do with wellness in one aspect, whether it's a mental wellness or physical wellness or financial wellness. I'm in that space. So I'm all about helping people get better overall. So that's just the space that I am in. So, but I wear many hats in those spaces. That's why it looks like I'm running so much businesses, but they all come together and it's all in wellness space.
And I believe, wow, that's impressive. And I believe it's very smart, because as opposed to trying to do so many different things that would require, to start from scratch, and that would require a lot of effort in the beginning because you are new in that space, right? You are capitalizing on what you are building over time to create even more businesses, so more impact, I should say, ultimately, because it's all about the impact when we are entrepreneurs, right? So wow, I feel like every 2 years you are dropping a new business.
Yes, that's how it is. Because last year alone, I dropped a podcast and the magazine. So yes, every 2 years, I guess I'm doing something new. But
So,
deals with, wellness and all that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I see that. So it's not easy, but you are doing it, right? So it tells us that it is possible
Mm-hmm.
to grow a business or multiple businesses while growing a family and being present. Because I feel like there is this cliche where, oh yeah, but independent women, professional women, they are entrepreneurs and they are successful. Uh, and there is a cost to this, which is the well-being of their kids or their family, the unity of the family, right? And I do believe you're a great example that you can do both. So now my question is, because as an entrepreneur with no kids yet, I struggle managing my time,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is a reality. So now, how do you manage and balance your time, your day-to-day? Like we all have 24 hours. So how do you balance it between motherhood and entrepreneur?
My calendar. I cannot do anything without my calendar. If like the first thing I do in the morning, I know I should probably not do this, but the first thing I do is open my email and check out my calendar for the day, right? So once I figure out what I'm doing for the day, then I'm able to set up my time and the tasks that I need to do and get them done. Like for example, right now I'm doing a lot of interviews for How to Survive Society. So each day there's always someone that I have to interview. And if I'm not interviewing people, I'm putting together the episode. I'm reaching out to companies to partner up with me. I'm reaching out to different, like it's all like online, Zoom. Sometimes I'm zoomed out because I'm on Zoom every day, at least 4 or 5 times a day, doing
Oh,
different things.
wow.
Yeah. So Zoom is like I love Zoom, but then I hate it at the same time because it's like I'm always on it. Like either I'm learning something or I'm interviewing or I'm talking to somebody. Like it's always so my calendar and having a system in place is key. So knowing what your day is going to be like and what you're going to do for that day is very, very key. And I'm the type of person that I have to write down my things. Like I need a paper and pen. I can't do notes on the
Yeah.
internet, on the phone. I just can't. Like if you see my house, it's like a lot of papers, a lot of books. I have different ideas in it. Every time I think of something, I'm like, oh, pen, write it down. Every time I think about something, oh, this will help my business, I write it down. Oh, if I see an opportunity that one of my kids can take advantage of, I write it down. Like I'm not only working for myself, I'm also working for my children. So anytime I see an opportunity, I jump on it right away. Like I don't waste time. If you talk to anyone that knows me, they always tell you I'm always on time, number one. And number two, when someone asks for something, I get it done right away. Because if I don't, I will forget about it and then I just won't do it.
Mm.
So that's why, because I already know myself. So you have to know yourself. You have to know your strengths and your weaknesses. So because I already know myself, that if I don't jump on something right away, I'm not going to do it. So whenever an opportunity comes, I jump on it right away, do what I have to do, and get it done without even thinking about it. So that's how I manage myself, manage my time, and manage everything around me.
And what I like about what you're saying is that it sounds like you don't overthink
Mhm.
about things,
Mhm.
right? You just identify an opportunity or maybe an idea, and then you take action right away.
Mhm.
And this is really how we see the doers versus the ones. And especially, everyone is affected by overthinking, but especially women,
Mhm.
where we have to, where a lot of women have to put like a lot of thought into it. It's not about taking, unnecessary risk or like jumping on every opportunity and doing like anything without thinking about it.
Mhm.
My point here is that it's trusting yourself enough. So knowing yourself enough
Mhm.
and trusting yourself enough. So when you see an opportunity that fits you,
Mhm.
you are able to take action on it without overthinking
Mhm.
and losing that opportunity.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yes, exactly. Don't overthink it. Just do it.
Just do it. This is how you keep moving.
Yes.
When you are not moving, you are stagnating, and this is not good because you are not progressing. So
Mm-hmm.
you need to keep moving.
Yeah.
Um, Something that we have heard a lot also, especially since the pandemic, it's the burnout cases are on the rise, right? Especially for moms
Mm-hmm.
who have seen their workflow and the burden on their shoulders being multiplied by working from home and having to handle a lot of things at home. So there was a transition that needed to happen, but I feel like we didn't get any support right during that transition. So it was about us finding our own way of doing things, and for a lot of people, unfortunately, that led them to burnout. So we know the burnout when it comes to work. We know the burnout also when it comes to motherhood. So what strategies either mother entrepreneurs or mompreneurs, there is a term
Mm-hmm.
to
Mompreneurs.
define other entrepreneurs or mompreneurs, what are the strategies that you do believe we can implement in order to, so I don't know if balance it is the right word, because I do believe there is no balance, or you have your own balance, right, which is different for every single person out there. But what are the strategies that you can implement in order to burn yourself out? That's a one that I would like to know, because I know that a lot of people are affected by it.
Yes. So the one strategy you can implement is definitely have a calendar. It's very, very, very important, because once you have a calendar and you know exactly what you need to do for that day or for the week, then you'll be able to manage yourself more, because now you have tasks that you have to get done and you know that you have to get them done. So you won't be like procrastinating and just not do anything. At least if you have your calendar in place, like your journal. Because like I said, I have my, calendar on my phone, and I also have my daily calendar, like my journal that I write into, that I say, okay, today this is what I need to get done, this. And then I make sure that at least I do those things. Even if I don't get all those things done the same day, that's okay. But at least you know what you need to do. And in order for you to be able to balance raising your children and having a business, just set a time apart for yourself. So let's say, like, for example, my children are in school from 8:30 to about 2. So from like 2:30, they start coming home one by one. So I know between 9 and 1, I'm able to focus. Well, I wouldn't say focus, because I still have 2 children that are home with me. So I have 4 in school, and then 1 and 2 that are at home with me, because they're not the age yet where they can start school. So when the 4 is at school, I have to take care of the 2 that are home, but I find a way to just get things done. So I make sure that I get them breakfast and then get them whatever they need. So I'm able to focus on my work. So I know between, like, let me say 10, not even 9, because 9, I'm still trying to deal with the 2 that are at home. So from 10 to about 1, I know that's the time I have to work on my business. So whatever I need to do on my business for that day, I get it done. So whether that's working on the magazine, because I'm the one that actually does the magazine myself, So Canva, thank you so much. Canva is so good.
Our best friend here.
Canva is my best friend. So I go on Canva, I work on the magazine, work on the articles and things like that. Or if I have to interview people for the podcast, I know, okay, how many people I'm interviewing for that day. So I read up on the people, I get the questions ready, I get myself ready. And then, or let's say I'm working on the media aspect of it, like the producing, because I have a few shows that I want to produce that I'm developing right now. So even reaching out to like producers or studios or different spaces. So whatever I need to do for that day, I make sure I do it between the times of 10 and 1. So that way I know what I'm doing and I get it done. So by the time my children are coming home, I have time to deal with the children, cook dinner. And luckily for me, my first 2 kids are girls, so they're teenagers now. So they help with cooking, they help with their brothers. Like you said, it takes a village. So I lean into the help. Like, I don't try and do everything myself because I'm only one person. So I can't raise all 6 children by myself and then do all these businesses. No, like I find a time and place for each thing. And let's say one of my child needs to go to like an after school program, or they have a program that they have to go to, then I make that time available for them, so they don't feel like I'm putting my business in front of the family. So I always make sure that I have a balance and just keep time to whatever needs to be done at that time. I give my time to, pretty much. So I make my schedule and I stick to the schedule. So that's what helps me.
I see. So you block off time.
Mhm.
And also something that you haven't mentioned, but I do believe that you do so, and you tell me if I'm wrong, is that you must say no to a lot of things. So when you are blocking off your time, focusing on your objectives for the day, if there is anything else that comes in that wasn't planned, you would say no to that, right? So you can
Yes.
focus.
It's mostly phone calls. Like I don't pick up my phone calls, not because I don't want to, but because at that time I'm either interviewing or doing something. So and then I call them back after. But when I'm in work mode, I don't pick up phone calls, except it's for my children's school, of course. But if it's like a phone call that I can return, then I just don't bother picking it up.
Yeah. So I believe it comes back to, again, narrowing down what your focus should be,
Mm-hmm.
and then being able to be very selective about what you say yes to,
Yes.
so you don't overwhelm yourself.
Yes, that's right.
And number 3, I would say then it's more about, the support system that
Mm-hmm.
you create around yourself. I have always telling this: success is not a solo endeavor, right? People who said I'm self-made, yes, probably you are self-made from a perspective that you are coming from a modest background, for example, which is most of the case the time. But at some point along the way, you came across people who gave you advice, who supported you, who helped you in a different ways, right? So, like, who are the people you surround yourself with? If the people you surround yourself with cannot, support the lifestyle that you are building for yourself, then I believe it's time to assess the people you are surrounding yourself with and eventually change those people, right? Because
Yes.
it doesn't happen alone.
Yes, those people can also be your family. Like I said, thank God my children helps out a lot, when it comes to cooking or cleaning or helping out with their brothers, so they help. So that is my village. My village is my family. They help me out a lot. So that's yeah, you're right about that. You have to find people that will help you get to your goals for sure.
Exactly. And we have Rachel here who says, insightful conversation. Thank you for this. Thinkers versus doers, committed action. Love it. Yes. Here, we don't bother with the fluff. Uh, we just focus and narrow it down to what matters. And our friend Robert also is here. I see Ahmed also here, who are impressed by your story. Robert says, the calendar, she's stressing the calendar. I'm with you on that. Oh, listen, if I show you, I have a notebook
Yeah.
for everything that I do. So it's very clear to me. One book, one workbook is dedicated to one specific project or one specific idea I'm working on. So
Yes.
I'm with you on this one as well as calendar. I have learned to block off time. So when I decide to focus on something, I don't take my eyes out of it until it's done,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
So this is the way I plan to be very productive as well.
Yes.
Wow! So we are already reaching at the end of our conversation. I think I could ask you so many more questions, but thank you so much for for joining us today and for sharing your story. And something maybe that we haven't talked about during the live is the importance of sharing your story, because the goal is to show you, listener and viewers, that none of us has it perfect,
Mhm.
right? And that it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of organization, and as we have been seeing, it takes a good support system to be successful, right? And Abby and I, we were talking before the live show, and we were saying how like, I'm definitely not perfect, she's definitely not perfect,
Not at all.
we have a lot of lows, flaws and lows, right? It is normal. But maybe one thing that can differentiate us from the rest, from the crowd, where we stand out from the crowd, is that we don't let our flaws and we don't let our lows and our failures, if I can say so, define us and stop us from moving,
Mhm.
right?
That's right.
And I think it's important to mention it, because I get a lot of feedback from our beautiful community telling me, when I feel down, I listen to your podcast, and when I hear those stories, I'm like, oh, okay, like, it reassures me that there is nothing wrong with me. And no, there is nothing wrong with you.
Mhm.
It's a process.
Yes.
It's a process with the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between, for every single one of us.
Yes, that's right. No one is perfect, that's for sure. That is a sure thing.
And I'm going to conclude with the comments from our audience. Surround yourself with people who are invested in your
Okay.
well-being
We can also hold your
and who can
visionary.
also hold your
Yes,
vision high.
that's right.
Yes. And here, Benita also says, wonderful session for working mothers, empowering. See, you are making an impact,
Thank you.
Abby, and that's what we love here. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you again, Abby, for joining us for another live episode of the Stand Out from the Crowd podcast. I will see you next week, Wednesday, for another live episode. And other interesting stories. Here I'm interviewing only women trailblazers, Canadian women trailblazers, because they do make a difference. They do make an impact, and our voice matters. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Abby.
Thank you.
You take care and stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.